But it's my secret recipe. I would never share it.
Hey, join us this week while we make our favorite chicken and biscuits recipe. We're just using a standard biscuit recipe here. There's nothing super special about it other than technique.
Use a cheese grater to cut the butter in.
Why do you do that?
Better distribution. You want the butter cold.
Have you tried doing it a different way?
Yes, melted butter makes it gross, and you can do it with the food processor or something like that, but it's extra steps and more dishes. Just running it through a cheese grater works fine.
And what is a grated cheese? What does it do to the final biscuit?
Well, you need to add fat. Sometimes I would do. You want about for this recipe about 4 ounces of fat. So this time I just did butter. You can also usually use at least 2 ounces of butter. The other 2 ounces can be anything from sour cream. Bacon fat is good, although it's more of a novelty.
I wonder if duck fat would be good.
I don't know. Maybe. I can't remember if I used anything besides bacon fat before. And mix in the milk.
How much milk?
10 ounces. I do 12 ounces of flour. I use 8 ounces all-purpose, 8 ounces bread flour. That mimics the lower protein flour often used in southern biscuits.
And why does it make a difference?
Makes it fluffier.
Fluffier, so the biscuits get bigger, or
Softer.
what are you putting? You just putting regular flour there?
Yeah. Even when I'm doing bread, I just use all-purpose flour in the shaker because it's such a small amount, it doesn't matter.
Can you make these biscuits with all-purpose flour if you can't get like a flour blend?
You can. I think I've even made them out of high gluten flour before because that's just what I had on hand. It's not necessarily as good, but it's not bad. Then you trifold it, flatten, trifold it, flatten.
Do you worry about overkneading?
I do not worry about overkneading. You need to do it so that you're getting layers, but you don't have to be super worried about it. I could weigh this out, but it's just dinner. Lives are not on the line. And also for this, I'm not using a biscuit cutter
And why is that?
because I'm lazy. And for this purpose, they end up coming out close enough. I've done it both ways. These look more rustic. But this way I don't have to go through the hassle of rolling out the dough. I just pinch it kind of like I would if I was making bread rolls or dividing it for bagels. Make it kind of round. just form it with the fingers. I'm sure that there are biscuit purists who would disagree with me. They are not invited to dinner. But especially since these are going on top of the stew, this works just fine. I've also done it this way just for weekend morning biscuits, and especially when they're being smothered in gravy. They're just fine. Nobody cares. And they will cook up. Just adding more flour to the surface so that they don't stick to the board. Then I put it out of the way.
Okay, now it's my turn. I'm going to start out making a basic roux. This is just flour and butter. Okay, and I'm going to add my onions because I want them to get a little bit softened. And just one onion. It doesn't really matter on the ingredients. There's a lot of flexibility here, so I just took what I had. So I've got onions, and then I have some great mushrooms from the farmer's market. I believe these are lion's mane and oyster mushrooms. Yeah, I have all my ingredients chopped up in the thing, because you don't need to see me chopping. So, we might have a few other things in there, but I'm generally trying to put them in order. Okay, and I'm going to add some of this wonderful chicken broth. Nice and gloopy. Made that myself. If you don't make your homemade broth, you really should start. It's really amazing. So, brief pause because I ran out of batteries in the camera. And I'm not sure what all you saw. So, let me go over what I've done. I made a basic roux. I added, again with just butter and flour, I added my onions, carrots, mushrooms from the farmer's market, peas that I did frozen, garlic that I also got frozen, and I keep peeled garlic in the freezer just for the purpose. It's actually really easy to slice peeled garlic. And celery. I believe that's everything I've added so far. And also some homemade broth, which is delicious. Okay. So that's our basic food components to this stew. Well, other than the chicken, I don't know why I keep wanting to forget to add chicken to a chicken stew. But here's the chicken. I actually froze this. This was a Costco chicken that we got, like a rotisserie chicken. And we bought two because if you're at Costco and you have to wait in all that line, you might as well just buy two. And so we sliced one up so that we could use the chicken later. And I stuffed it in the freezer. I'm going to stuff that bag back in the freezer. I try to reuse the plastic bags whenever I can. Now this is going to shrink down a little bit because the veggies are going to give up their juices and shrink a little bit, and there'll be room for the chicken. And if there's not, I'll add more broth. Okay, so now we have our food in here. I'm going to add some herbs. And what I'm adding thyme, sage, and rosemary from my garden because that's what I have fresh, so that's what I usually add to everything. You know, in Portland they grow year-round, so I can always pick those fresh. It's a great investment to have that as a little herb garden. I'm also growing oregano and mint, but the oregano bolted, and I'm not sure mint would be a great addition to this. I'm also going to add just a bit of cayenne. Not a huge amount. I don't want this to be spicy. I just want it to have a little bit of a flavor zing in there. Got some smoked paprika. I just want to have like just a little bit of a smoky taste to it. And some black pepper. So this really just should taste like a classic chicken pot pie kind of stew. We tend to call this chicken pot pie when really it's just chicken and biscuit, which is already a thing. But, you know, when we say we're making chicken pot pie, this is what we usually make, is chicken and biscuit. It's the best parts of chicken pot pie, because instead of like just a little bit of crust, you get like a full biscuit with all of the stew on it. And you don't have to worry about bottom crust. Get this frozen chunk o chicken ready to go. I'm gonna taste this and see where it is in terms of like flavor. And definitely can use some salt. I used to add salt to my broth, but I decided that I wanted to control the salt a little bit better. So I stopped doing that. And then I forget that, oh yeah, it's not naturally salty. Do you need to preheat the oven or anything, Harold?
Yeah, I was going to do it after you were done, because it'll make a lot of noise.
See if I can work this thing into the bottom so that the chicken chunks unchunk. There we go. Okay. There. I got salt on one side and salt, no salt on the other side. There we go. That's about right. You don't want to go too salty with the soup because your biscuits can add a little bit. Ha! Put this on the floor because I knew it was going to get in the way. I'm going to top this off with a little bit of milk to make it creamier. You don't have to. You can add milk or cream, or you could just like leave it as is. It's delicious either way. I just like it with a little bit of milk. More chattery. There you have it. I'm gonna try this piece of chicken and hopefully not burn my mouth. Nope, it's very good. And then you see the biscuit is like perfectly fluffy and cooked, and it was just floating right on top because it got all that stuff in there.
That works.